So you believe 3-1 on for Camelot's a good price at this stage?
Yeah, it's an exciting weekend, isn't it? I mean, we've had two superstars. You've been lucky to have Frankel and Camelot. Bookmakers took no chance with Frankel. I can't believe they're taking such a chance with Camelot. I think sort of 2-5 with Hills. I mean, to me, he's a 1-10 shot. I mean, you know, go back, have a look at the Derby. He's absolutely thrashed. So, like 3 of his rivals that are going to line up against him on Saturday. Okay, there's all rumblings about, the trip. Is this going to be too far for him? And everything else like that. But again, look at the Derby. You know, he's great. You know, he's going past the post as if like he could go around if there was a circuit at Epsom. He could have gone around again. I have no doubts about him staying the trip, and he's just far too classy for everything else in the race. So he has got a Frankel perspective. I think he should be 1-10. So 2-5 to me is cracking price.
And you're going for a combination forecast. The other two you quite fancy is Main Sequence and Ursa Major.
Yeah, I think I think there's a little bit of a take in the race that obviously sort of John Gosden, having won 3 of the last 5 St Legers, is very much the in man that probably a lot of punters will go for, and he's got Thoughtworthy and Michelangelo. And I just don't like their form. I know Thoughtworthy, obviously he's like brother to Lacana, who won the St Leger, but I know they gave him a very positive ride in the Derby, but he was beaten out of sight in the Derby. And then the Great Voltigeur at York, I mean, it's a race that I've torn out of the form book. They went no pace. It was a really muddling race. And obviously William Buick, one of his great rides of the year, bossed it from the front, dictated. They came up the middle at York. I hate York form anyhow. I know the Great Voltigeur is a race that you go sort of like say, right, that's definitely a St Leger sort of trial. But for the first time for a while, I think this year, it's a race I want to forget. So, I think Main Sequences will definitely turn the form round with Thoughtworthy. Look back to the Derby. I think he's one that I think is no problem with the 1 3/4 miles. So, yeah, I think Main Sequence been quite heavily back this week, I noticed. So, obviously, the vibes are right out the stable. And the other one, is Ursa Major of Tommy Carmody, who's made a great impression starting up in Ireland for Andrew Tinkler, the owner. Great record. And this horse has got under the radar a bit. I know, well, certainly with the British bookmakers, 25-1 I saw earlier in the week. He's won a Group 3 in very taking style with an absolute distance back to the rest of them. The one worry is it's been on very sort of soft ground in Ireland. Unless the rains come, I think it's going to be a sort of a good ground, St Leger. That'd be the one doubt about him. But the vibes are that he's been very progressive through the year. He's got to step up again for Group 1, but he's the one sort of dark horse in the race. Everything else we know worthing about, but this one could just sort of slip under the radar. Still at 20-1. So it'll be Camelot to beat Main Sequence, Camelot to beat Ursa Major.
Inside the last 200 yards, and it's Ursa Major now beginning to draw on, and Ursa Major and Fergal Lynch will score for Tommy Carmody. Second home is Hartani. A long
couple of words on a couple of the other contenders. We've got Godolphin's Anchor in there.
Yeah, again, so ran in the Great Voltigeur, so ran well at Goodwood as well in the Gordon Stakes, but again, just looks just a little bit short of again of sort of like probably even placing. I wouldn't have a place bet on him in the St Leger. I think again Main Sequence will finish ahead of him. I think probably sort of Thoughtworthy should finish again ahead of him again on all known form.
And what do you make of Highcliffe's Guarantee?
Yeah, again, so I suppose you could say he's another dark horse in the race. Very impressive winner of the Melrose at York for the 3-year-olds. So we got no doubts about him in the trip and everything. But again, so if he's got to improve, he's got to prove another £10 to really step up to this group race, sort of like to a Group 1, let alone a Group 2 or 3, which he still hasn't won. I know again the vibes are quite good, but I think he's got a lot to prove and he's going to come up short.
Okay, so that's Camelot to win, chased home by Main Sequence or Ursa Major.